I am so impressed with every single one of you for making the huge effort to come all the way to this summit. We all know it's a big, big effort to leave your work and your home and your families, so I appreciate that. But I really, really am grateful for the fact that you came to this workshop right after lunch. We all know about food coma. So thank you so much for the gift of your time. How many of you have ever wanted to add some purposeful variety to your exercises and workouts that you do with your older adults? Me too. We're always looking for ways to keep things fresh and exciting, right? Well, that's why I was so happy when the Gray Institute came up with this list, and you should have the list on your table somewhere, called the 10 Observational Essentials for All Human Movement. I love this list because it's a systematic, logical, and truly functional way to vary or tweak all of the exercises you do with your older adult clients and class participants. This simple list will give you the tools you need to have an infinite amount. That's where to infinity and beyond comes in. Okay, maybe not infinite, but a huge amount of ways to add safe, purposeful, and really fun variety to your workouts. Now, these tweaks will work for any age and any exercise, but I'm going to stick with the older adult workout today because I'm assuming that's what you're here for. All of this content is part of something called Applied Functional Science, which I'm going to be calling AFS from now on, and it's the body of knowledge taught by the Gray Institute. There are some incredibly brilliant people that came up with all this stuff, and I'm honored that I get to share it with you. But I want to keep this workshop as practical and useful for you as possible, so I'm going to skip all the intellectual, complicated thought processes and the principles and the strategies, and I'm just going to cut right to the chase and go with the basic techniques. That way, you'll be able to use every single thing that you learn this afternoon in this very short hour when you go back to work next week. Now, I promise you that when I start going through this list with you, you're going to say, been there, done that, I knew that, there's nothing new here, and you know what? You're going to be right. There's nothing on this list that you haven't seen or done before. The magic comes from having these 10 tweaks at your fingertips so you can play around with them to make your workouts full of variety that's very purposeful. After we go through the list together, I'm going to give you a chance to practice using them as we do a sample workout today together. I'm a firm believer that people learn a lot better, especially fitness people like you. We learn better by doing. A lot of us are kinesthetic learners. So we're actually going to do some cardio warm-up, strength, balance, and stretch together. So we're going to need a lot of room for that. So let's get started. If you want to pull out your list, we're going to need a lot of room today. So I'm going to make it so that everyone has space to move without whacking the person next to you. So I'm going to ask you to all stand up, please. Stand behind your chair and push your chair in so it's touching the table. Okay, so far so good. Now, in order to give you some space, I'm going to have the front row, instead of going 1, 2, 1, 2, we've got to go Dan, Cody, Dan, Cody. So it's Dan, Cody, keep going. Whoever, keep going. Cody. Remember who you are. I'm going to have each person at the end of all these rows do the same thing. The whole room. Dan, Cody, go. The whole room, go. Do you remember who you are? If you are Dan, stand right by your chair, right behind your chair. If you are Cody, take your chair and your list, and if you're a compulsive note taker like me, a pen, and you have 45 seconds to find somewhere in the room, the back, the aisles, the front, where you can go like this with your chair and not whack anybody and not whack your chair. Go. If you're Dan, you can stay where you are. I was hoping this would work. So do everyone have room to move without thumping on anyone else? Okay, looks great, well done. Thank you for your open mind. You didn't know you were going to do a workout today, did you? I had to keep you awake after those beans. Okay, so on your list, first thing is action. Action simply describes what exercise you're doing. Are you doing a squat? Are you doing a lunge? Are you doing a reach? That's all action is on your list. Environment refers to where the action is taking place. Are you in a pool? Are you standing on a tennis court? Are you on a Pilates reformer? Are you standing in a gym? If you're standing in a gym, are you with wide open spaces, or is there a chair or a wall next to you? That's environment. Position. Are you standing, sitting, kneeling, side lying, prone, which is lying on your stomach, or supine, which is lying on your back? If you're standing, your position, are your feet wide? Are your feet together? Are they staggered? Or maybe even single leg balance? So that's position. See, nothing new on this list you didn't know before. Diane and Debbie and Ken pretty much covered all of these items yesterday beautifully in their incredible, you should have gone to, if you didn't go to the specialist certification yesterday, you missed it. Go next year, they're fabulous. But they covered all this, nothing you didn't know. Driver, the driver is what creates the action. Right now, I'm using a leg driver, I'm using an arm driver. Whatever driver you use creates a chain reaction throughout your body. With applied functional science, we talk a lot about this chain reaction. You know that song, the ankle bone's connected to the knee bone? Well, it's really true, and I want to prove that to you. I'm going to mirror you. I'm going to ask you to take your arms and just easy cheesy twist side to side. Let your hips move. Let everything just be relaxed. Now make sure you're not going to whack anyone. I think you did a phenomenal job spacing yourselves out. Now, take your left arm and go a little bit farther behind you, left arm. Good. Now go a little bit farther. Let everything move. We're going to do 3 of these and then freeze at the back. Here we go. 3 and 2. Can you go a little farther? Hold it back, hold it back. Good. Let's do that one more time. 3 and 2, and hold it back, freeze, let everything freeze. Now put your arm down, keep everything else the same, look at your feet. Is your right foot rolled in a little bit? Is your left foot rolled out, supinated? Right foot should be pronated a little bit. Relax for a sec. What happened is we used a driver through the chain reaction to mobilize your feet. I didn't tell you to roll your feet in and out, did I? But it was subconscious. What happened is that driver caused that chain reaction to mobilize your feet. So that's driver. Direction simply refers to which direction you're moving in. As most of you know, there are 3 planes of motion. Sagittal plane is forward and back. Frontal plane is side to side, and transverse plane is rotating. It's so important that we train especially our older adults, in all 3 planes of motion. Many traditional exercises are primarily in the sagittal plane, some on the frontal plane, but often that all-important transverse plane gets forgotten about. But it's so important that we let our older adults practice rotating in the safe environment when we're working with them, so that their bodies are used to rotating, so when they go out in everyday life and they reach back to get their purse from the back seat of the car, their body says, been there, done that. So I want to practice a little reaction drill with you now to make sure that you have these 3 planes of motion down, because a lot of AFS talks about working in these 3 planes of motion. So what I'm going to do is I'm either going to say right sagittal, and if I say right sagittal, I'm going to mirror you. Your right foot's going to tap forward and back, or it can also go back, because sagittal is back as well. If I say right frontal, what would your foot do? Good. And if I said right transverse, then you would rotate out like so. So I might say right, I might say left. So I'm going to start work on your fast twitch muscles, which we should all be doing with our older adults, right? So it's a reaction drill. You're going to take your foot forward and back as fast as you can. You ready? Are you ready? Yes. Okay, let's go. Right transverse. Left frontal. Right frontal. Left sagittal. Right transverse. Left transverse. It's even harder for me, believe me. Left sagittal. Got it. Okay. So when we're born, we all have pretty much the same number of slow twitch and fast twitch muscles that we're just born with. Some people have more slow twitch, some have more fast twitch. As we get older, part of the aging process is losing some of those fast twitch muscles, which can cause problems because you need to be able to react quickly when you stumble and lose your balance. It's really important to practice adding some reaction drills with your older adults. Okay, one more. Now we're going to work on neuroplasticity for you. This isn't really AFS, but I'm so excited about it, I just couldn't help throwing it in. Forget about the rights and lefts, but when I say a mammal, a cat or a cow, whatever, you're going to go forward with either foot in the sagittal plane. So if I say cow, what would you do? Good. Okay, if I say reptile, it's going to be frontal plane, either right or left, doesn't matter. So what's a mammal? Forward. What's reptile? Okay, and if I say a fish, what's left? Transverse plane, okay? Again, this one's harder for me, but you got to think. What's happening here is we're going to be moving while we're doing a cognitive challenge. And this has been proven. All the research has proven that you actually build more brain cells than if you're moving doing a cognitive challenge than if you're just sitting doing a crossword puzzle. So ready? Lizard. Cow. Oh, you're too good. Guppy. Horse. Salamander. Dolphin. Gotcha, okay. All righty. Okay, so I'm just throwing in lots of things that you can just add into your classes. You can do all sorts of categories and all sorts of different ways to do that. It's called neuroplasticity. Cody mentioned it earlier today, but it's so huge. So many of our older adult clients and class participants are afraid, number 1, of falling, and number 2, of losing their marbles. So that's a nice way to work on their memory. Height simply refers to how high you're doing something. Right now, I'm doing a leg swing at ground level. Now, it's usually a relative term in terms of AFS. Now I'm at what sort of ankle level, now I'm at knee level, or I'm taking my dumbbell to shoulder height or overhead. Height is another tweak you can use. Distance, I'm going to ask you to just do a regular sagittal plane lunge, just a regular lunge for me. Show me. Good. Okay. There are 3 sort of categories of distance in AFS. We call it initial range, mid-range, or end range. Most people, they self-select when you ask them to do a lunge like I just did. You probably went to your mid-range, right? Unless you're kind of trying to show off for the person next to you. Wow, look at my end-range lunge. But most people are most comfortable doing a mid-range lunge. That's what they'll select. But so this is a really nice way to be able to tweak. Again, they talked yesterday, Diane and Debbie Ken, about doing progressions. This is a nice way you can progress things with these tweaks with the distance. We're almost there. I'm sure every person in this room knows about load, whether you're using machines or free weights or tubes, how much weight are you lifting? I'm sure most of you that work with frail older adults realize that oftentimes body weight is just plenty of load as it is. Rate is a wonderful tweak. It's how fast the action is happening. Cody and Dan talk a lot about adding power to the workouts, which is so important. So that's rate. It's either going slow or fast. And finally, duration is an easy one. It's just how long is the action happening. So, as promised, there's nothing on this list that you haven't seen or done before, right? But I think you're going to be amazed at how much you can add, how much variety you can get from playing around with these simple tweaks. Now you have this cheat sheet at your hands. So we're going to do a little workout now, and we're going to start out. Yeah, I think you're okay. If you're standing behind a table, just make sure you don't whack the chair. And what plane of motion are we in? How could we tweak this? Go faster. Okay, let's go faster. Good. How else could we tweak this? Sammy, shout it out. Height. Okay, beautiful. Height. Nice. Let's go. Show me what the frontal plane would look like. Yep. So it can be here, distance, a little bit smaller, or how about that height one again? Overhead. So show me what transverse plane, bilateral hands would be. Good. Is it easier or harder with arms bent? Easier. So you might start with arms bent, getting their spine warmed up, and then a little bit tougher. Good. Now start reaching to the opposite corner. What's this doing? What's the purpose of this? This is to, beautiful. Weight transfer. Also, it's loosening up. It's mobilizing your scapula, your shoulder blades on your thoracic spine. Really important that your thoracic spine is used to rotating because it was designed to rotate, and your hips were designed to rotate, but your lower back not so much. So you want that thoracic spine. Now I'm going up a little higher, tweaking what tweak? Yeah, duh. See, it's so easy. And then what plane of motion did we just kind of evolve into? What happens if someone has a really tender, they have a rotator cuff issue on their right arm? How would you tweak this? Yeah, or maybe just do with one arm. So, okay, so let's go back down. So now, if you take your arms forward and back, this is called out of sync. I love this move. Can you feel your chest muscles getting stretched out a little bit? Say yes. Yes? Good. So as we get older, we tend to get chest muscles that are short and tight, and our back muscles get long and weak. I love this one because it's a nice, natural way. So I don't know about you, but I've been freezing for the past 2 days. Are you warmed up a little bit? You're welcome. Okay, take a little break. Toe taps. We all know how important toe taps to strengthen the tibialis anterior. Really important for fall prevention, right? So kind of in the, come on, it's like you're saying, come on, let's get going. So I didn't realize it would be so noisy up here. So we're kind of in the sagittal plane. How would you make this to the front? Yeah, there we go, beautiful. Little frontal plane. So you should be doing toe taps every day. Diane said that yesterday. I couldn't agree more. So to get the transverse plane, how about this? Ankle flexibility, so important for gait and fall prevention. And other side. So we're not going to do both sides of everything because I've only got an hour, but just giving you some ideas of how we can use these tweaks for a little cardio warmed up. Are you warmed up a little bit? Okay, let's do some strength. I'm going to ask you, oh, I forgot a chair. May I borrow a chair, please? Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Elena. So stand in front of your chair if you would for me, please. Sit to stands, the world's probably most important and effective functional exercise that any older adult can do. But now we've got our list. How are we going to tweak the boring, it can be kind of boring, right? Sit to stand. So starting off with position, let's have our feet side by side. Now they're just in neutral. And what are we tweaking? That's kind of a trick question, wasn't it? Position. Yeah, position sounds good to me. So if you just plop right down, not using very, very many eccentric muscles. So let's stand up again. What would we tweak to make us use more eccentric muscles? Great. Let's try it really slowly. 4, 3. Are you still breathing? 2. And last one. Let's tweak position one more time. Put your right foot forward. left foot back. Now this is going to make your left leg work harder. If you have an older adult with a tender left knee that day, tweak the foot position, but stand up slowly. Can you feel more work in your left leg going on now? Try going down slowly. Stick your fanny way back out behind you like you're sitting in a kindergarten chair. So simple position tweak for this wonderful exercise. Keep going with me. I want you to feel it. Feel the burn. Okay, switch legs so you can kind of tell the difference. Again, if it's too much for that knee, then you can tweak, make the tweak a little smaller. Stand up. Right cheek, starting to feel it? This is where you nod and say yes? Yeah, okay, good. All right, one more. Now, questions. Keep standing up. How could you tweak the environment with a chair, sit to stand? Ooh, someone said it over here. Lower chair. Is that easier or harder? Way harder. How else could you tweak the environment? Turn on the heater. You're hired. Thank you, Don. You could make the chair squishy. Have any of your older adult clients or class participants talked about having a hard time getting out of a low, squishy couch? So play with that. See, these simple little tweaks, when I was going through that list, you're probably going, huh. But now you're starting, the light bulbs are starting to go on. You can really, really change the exercises. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to stand on the right side of your chair, please. And we're just going to do one side so I don't run out of time. I'm going to ask you to take so you're 80 now, or 85, okay? So I'm going to have you stand, just because I'm a little bit kook about safety, with pretending that you're 80 or 85 or 90. Left hand on the chair. Take your right foot and go forward, middle, and back, and middle. Okay, how would you tweak distance with this? Shorter or longer. So if someone's got a tender knee, they're doing a small, or else they're going to Robin's cycling thing, which sounds incredible too. Tweaking distance, they could go longer. How would you tweak height? Yep, go a little bit farther or not. So let's kind of go together. Let's go forward and then skip the middle and back. That little absence of point of contact makes a big difference with balance. That's why I have your hand right there. Now, if this is plenty for them, stick with this. Which leg is getting worked here? Yeah, supporting leg a lot. So if you want, you can add a multitasker here. Take your left arm and go forward and switch your arms. Back. Don't whack the chair. So how would you tweak load here? Yeah, put some weights on. So I do this with my home clients and also in class. And if it's too much, I say just do your arms or just do your legs. So again, a nice complex. If you had weights, you would realize you're working your biceps. If you take your arms behind you, you're working triceps. So we're not isolating muscles at all. We're integrating. We're using a lot of muscles all at once, just like we do in real life. Is your left leg getting a little tired? You're 80, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, next, to work our stomachs, kind of different with AFS. Pretend like you're just going to bring your arm. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see a little bit behind you. So I have people in my class, because I do teach group, do a little kind of test drive, make sure their backs are hunky-dory with this. If they are, go back a little farther. What's your stomach doing right now when your arm is behind you? It's stretching. Is it turned on? You're darn tootin' it's turned on. It's firing up to keep you from falling over backwards. We talked a lot about where some people were talking with their clients at lunch about Parkinson's. One of the things that happens with Parkinson's is they lose their balance going backwards. How scary is that? When people get jostled in a crowded mall, falling over backwards, this is firing on your muscles, but you're strengthening your muscles in the position that you usually use them when you need to use them, right? When you're standing up. I'm assuming you don't spend most of your life lying supine on the ground. So a very functional way to strengthen your stomach muscles. If you tweaked load, how could you tweak load? 90-degree arm, or even weights in your hands. Yeah, so anyway, and so what we're doing here, I forgot to tell you, we're doing all the exercises in the sagittal plane first, because this is just the way my mind works, and then we'll be doing frontal plane, and then we'll be doing transverse. If you're thinking, well, he's only doing sagittal, you're right. Okay, let's go back to alternating anterior lunges. Start with your right leg, and take a little lunge forward, switch legs. So to tweak distance, we talked about this. You can go farther, tweak height, you can go lower. Now, if someone has a tender back, their probably back is going to be happier if they keep upright. But if your purpose is to strengthen the glutes of your client, try leaning forward a little bit. If your 85-year-old back is happy with this, what's happening to your glutes? They're firing up. Is this functional? Do people ever have to do this during the day? Yes, absolutely. So if you tweaked load and had weights, put them either side of your knee and then come back. Again, a very integrated exercise. How could I tweak height on this with my arms? Yeah, great, Eric, I saw it in between your yawns. So you can go overhead, busted. That's what happens when you stand right in front of the presenter. Down, well, that's the beans talking. That's okay, we're good. So down and up. So if you come back a little bit, this turns into a butts and guts because here's your left cheek, and then your abs, and right cheek. Good, okay. Let's work on balance. Stay on the right side of your chair. When you're working on balance, it really helps to find a stationary target that's vertical, because if you look at something vertical, it helps to kind of line your body up vertically. So take your right foot, let's do a leg swing at ground height, a tap. So you're 85, pretty easy, right? See if you can go to ankle height. Good, now, how can you tweak this? Speed, beautifully, show me. Faster, slow. How else? Eccentric hold, beautiful, beautiful. In AFS, we talk a lot about needing to study balance in motion, because, keep going, because I want you to get really tired. When you move, it turns on this part of your nervous system called proprioceptors, and your proprioceptors are the little gizmos that tell your muscles how to keep their balance, but the proprioceptors only get turned on when you're moving. Most falls don't happen when you're doing a tree pose. It's another reason I like Tai Chi so much, because they're moving when they're doing those weight shifts. But you want to have your muscles used to regaining their balance, being told by the proprioceptors that only get turned on when they're moving. Can we add another driver here? I saw it. Beautiful. Nice. You could be teaching this class. You're so great. So our arms are going in the sagittal plane. What other plane of motion could our arms go in? Beautiful, nice. So there's no right or wrong answer. Are you a little bit wobbly? Yes, exactly. Arms can go any which way. So take a little break. I tell my peeps that if you're doing this perfectly, you're not wobbling at all, then you need to amp it up a little bit, because you want to challenge your balance so your body is forced to regain its balance while it's moving, because that's when we lose our balance in real life. Okay. Sagittal plane done. Stand a little bit more forward from the chair so you don't whack your hands on the side. How could we tweak this? Height, yep, exactly. Load. Distance, easier, harder. Now I'm looking around, I'm seeing everyone's hips moving. That is exactly what is supposed to be happening. Traditional strength training is more here, right? Isolated and just working the shoulders. But AFS, we talk about letting the whole body work together when we're training, because that's how it works in real life. So you could let your right arm rest, and then left arm could do a bigger range of motion. If a thumb goes up at the end, it's a little easier on the shoulder joint. So you can do both side to side. So little frontal plane moves. Again, you're mobilizing your hips at the same time. So important to keep that lower back from getting chewed up, to have the hips mobilized. Okay, let's see, what else? Same side lateral. So up here, how could we tweak this? Speed, yep. Slow or fast. How else could we tweak it? Position, yep. You can go way high. Distance, could you do this with load? Yep, depending on your person, right? But what the purpose is for your particular client or class. But again, working in the frontal plane. Let's try those lunges again. Let's go on the other side of your chair so you're not totally one-sided. Standing on the left side of your chair. This time you're going to do a lateral lunge, a side lunge with your left leg. So off to the side and back. Show me some tweaks. Good. Not going much farther, Liz. Good. Exactly right, but that's the next category. Let me just get through this. You're perfectly right. Thank you, Catherine. So, could you add another driver? Yep, beautiful. Maybe have weights if your hands go on either side of your knee, and maybe we could tweak height with the hands and coming up. So, can you feel a little bit more work going on the outside of your left hip now? That's really good. These muscles help to stabilize you when you're standing or walking, especially important for balance. Ooh, I saw a position. Her knee is coming up at the end. Nice. I hadn't thought of that. Beautiful. See how easy this is? You are totally rocking this. Okay. I'm going to turn my chair this way because otherwise I get too confused. So if your chair is this way, stand on this corner of your chair and look this way. Take your back foot, your right foot, and tap it. If you were having a clock face underneath you, tap it from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Where should you be looking if you're doing balance work? Straight ahead. Yeah, I always tell my friends, there's no money on the floor, I promise you. How could you make this harder? How could you tweak it? Lift up, says Elena. Yes. Tweaking the height. Could you add another driver here? There go the arms. Perfect. Wonderful. So, can you feel how your standing foot is rolling in and out a little bit? Just like we did with that in the example with the arm driver. That's a good thing. You want that foot to be able to roll in and out a little bit. Okay, so that was the frontal plane balanced leg swings. What plane of motion is left? Transverse. Let's do it. So, standing, feet about hip width apart, and just some uppercuts. What would happen if we tweaked rate on this? Yeah. Huh. Where's Cody? It's a power thing, right? Turning on those fast twitch muscles. What's it like slowly? How could you tweak height? Good. Beautiful. So height can be either lower or higher. Let's do same side rotation. So arm comes back a little bit. Do a little baby version of this. Make sure everything's hunky-dory. Good. Now, I wouldn't do this too fast, but pretend you have a weight in your hand. Can you feel your stomach muscles firing up a little bit as that arm comes behind? Again, this is a wonderful multitasker. You're using your whole body. Do you notice how I'm letting your hips move? I'm not telling you to isolate or anything like that because I want the heel coming up. All the power comes from your hips in pretty much every athletic sport, right? Baseball, golf. So we're letting those hips get mobilized and do the moving. So same side rotation, very nice. Okay, let's do those lunge and rows, this time in the transverse plane. So I'm going to have you do a rotational lunge. Now with my 80, 85-year-old clients like you people, I cue to have my foot turned towards the side wall. If you've got a 20-year-old, they can be going all the way back like this, but that's probably a little bit much. But this is getting some beautiful external rotation on this right hip. Show me some tweaks. You're getting to be experts at this. I'm just going to watch. Good. I saw the knee come up afterwards. He's going so beautiful. Very nice. I see a lot of chaos here. It's really nice. Is it making sense? Are you getting it? Yeah, good. Okay, so rotational lunge, and arms could come up again, and that will also make it more of a cardiovascular exercise if you get those arms up. Okay, and lastly, to do the rotational leg swings, transverse plane, standing, finding a vertical target. This time on the clock face, you're maybe sort of, 9 o'clock to 4:30 or something more or less. See if you can keep your eyes locked straight ahead. This is usually the toughest plane of motion. I'm just going to watch now as you do it. This is really challenging, so make sure that your clients or class participants are standing next to a chair, tweaking that environment when they're doing this. But I love this exercise because it's throwing you off balance a little bit, training you to regain your balance without actually thinking, I am balancing. You're just trying to stay upright. Okay, there's some ideas for strength. Let's do a little bit of stretch now, and you get the idea. I'll be doing a lot of these tweaks just in terms of direction. If you wouldn't mind standing on your left side of your chair, put your left foot forward and lift your left toe. Inhale and lengthen your spine. Keep that spine long. Keep your shoulders back and down as you just let your torso go down and then up. With AFS, we believe that we need to stretch while we're moving. It's not those bouncing stretches that most people here are too young to remember, but back in the 60s, remember that we started off our workouts with those ballistic bouncing stretches? That's such a good way to pull a muscle. But anyway, nice rhythmic. So again, you're letting your muscles functionally get used to elongating while you're moving. Your proprioceptors are all fired up, and they're telling their muscles just how far they can stretch. Next time your torso is low, hold it low. To tweak direction, the frontal plane, little windshield wiper. Can you feel a little different, something going on in the back of your left leg now as you tweak that frontal plane? Yes? Yeah, okay, good. Hold your foot still. Put your left hand on the chair so that you're rotating this way. Now bring your left shoulder towards that flexed left foot. Little different area getting stretched maybe? Yeah, so you're trying to cover as many bases as you can for your older adult friends to keep them from pulling a muscle. Take your left hand off the chair, please, and look the other way. I still have my hand on the chair just because I don't want to make a fool of myself on the stage and fall over. And actually, I always do this with my hand on the chair, but rotate as much as you can the other way. Now a little different zone getting stretched. So you're trying to not just stretch in the sagittal plane, but stretch in all those three planes of motion. Let's get our all-important hip flexors stretched out. Keep your right foot by your chair. Take your left foot back, but look with your eyeballs at your left foot. You want it turned in a little bit, like it's pigeon-toed. You're going to get such a bigger bang for your buck if that back foot is internally rotated, because that'll internally rotate this hip. Here's the driver. Drive your right knee forward and release it. Can you feel a little stretch in the front of that left thigh? These two muscles are so important and so strong, but the more we sit, the more damage they can do. I see another driver going. Beautiful. Take that left arm and bring it up. And now if this bites a little bit on the back, you could tweak height and just have the arm go like this. But are you feeling like you're getting a little more bang for your buck with this left hip flexor stretch? So I need to change the plane of motion with my driver. I'm going to change my arm driver to do a little frontal plane. Cueing breathing, of course. Do you like this one? Isn't it great? And then to tweak the transverse plane, what would you do? Maybe around the corner and around the corner. Very nice. Good. Okay, so we got the hamstrings, low back, hip flexor. Stand behind your chair for me. Let's stretch out our calves. I'm going to face sideways so you can see me. Keep your body tall. Take your right foot back behind you again. Look with your eyes to make sure that back foot is turned in. Push forward with your left knee, keeping your body tall, but this time keep your back heel on the ground. Nice stretch for the pretty traditional stretch, right? For that right calf. Do me a favor, turn your foot out. Let it cheat, because this is what your clients are going to want to do every time. Can you feel the difference? Yeah, it's kind of a waste of time with your foot turned out. So go back to turning it in. Now let's use a driver of your hips this time. So keep your left knee forward as you can, feeling a good stretch in that right calf. Let's use our hips as a driver in that frontal plane, going side to side. Again, feeling a little different, something going on in the back of your right calf. Actually, there's no front of your right calf, is there? In your right calf. Yeah, nothing like a little redundancy. And now a hip driver in the transverse plane, rotating around and going back the other way. How many people teach yoga? Or how many people know downward dog? Okay, can we tweak direction with downward dog? Let's give it a try. Stand behind your chair. It might be tricky if you might have to go sideways if you're behind a table. Walk your legs back. This is obviously modified downward dog. Hands are on the chair. Walk back so there's a sort of a right angle between your legs and your torso. Take a deep breath in. Let your chest come up just a little bit. And then when you breathe out, let your chest come down. Where are you feeling it? Low back? Oh, upper back, yeah. Should be in your lats and also back your leg. Breathe in, let your chest come up a smidge. Breathe out, exhale down. One more time, inhale up, just a little, and exhale down. Okay, I know the camera is going, but if you dare, try wagging your tail and say hello a little bit more intensely to the back of your right leg and the left leg. I can't believe I'm doing this. Thing is being videoed. But, oh well. You leave your pride at home when you come to FAI, right? Hold your bottom still, and you might need to watch me. I'm going to rotate and look up one way. It's going to give a beautiful stretch in the lats here. Remember to keep breathing. So we're tweaking the transverse plane. Obviously, rotate the other way. Do you like it? Yeah, it's just different. Just a different way to skin a cat. And come on up. Okay. Let's see. Let's do one more stretch. I'm not going to do both sides. So you're going to walk out of here uneven, but deal with it. I want to just try. There's so much I want to show you. So wide stance. Feet are pointed straight ahead. We're going to stretch out our inner thighs now. Body nice and tall. And just shift your weight. Good. Side to side. Can you feel a little stretch and alternating inner thighs, those adductors? So let's go after your right adductors. So next time your left knee is bent, hold it bent. Please hold it bent. Let's use a driver of your left arm. Now, why am I doing this? When I use my arm, it's getting my hips going forward, back in that sagittal plane. Can you feel a little extra credit in that right adductors? We've got to tweak to the frontal plane, though. So now you know I'm always sagittal and frontal, and then transverse. It just makes it easy for you to remember. How are we going to do that? Yeah, there you go. There's a frontal plane tweak. A little more in that right adductor. And then bring your arm around. You get the picture, right? See, you're experts at this. Who knew? Two more. Good. Let's go back to side. Do they feel a little uneven? Yeah. So your right side's a lot. Should we just go ahead and do that other side? I hate to cheat you. So right knee stays bent. And then right arm goes forward and back. Again, the driver is causing that chain reaction to get those hips going forward and back to loosen up those left adductors a little bit. Let's go to the frontal plane with your right arm going over your head sideways. You get the picture. And transverse plane, show me. Yep. Good. And last one. Very nice. Okay, where's Cody or Dan? They're not here. They said that they were going to come up here and lead questions, but who needs them? Do you have any questions? Yes.
You guys have questions?
Oh.
Come up to the microphones.
No questions? Did I do my job right? Okay. Take your arms up. Wait, you have to do this. Take your arms up. Breathe in. All aerobics instructors do this at the end, right? And everyone knows exactly what's going to happen. 2 more times. Arms up. Inhale up. Last time. Arms up now. Bring your arms in front of you straight. And now give yourselves a standing ovation. You rocked it. Well done. Well done. Thank you so much.